Hey, I'm Zach from MediaElective.com, and we are in phase 2 of the Transform series, and we are in Photoshop. The first phase, or the first step, was in Illustrator, and we created this image right here, which is actually a vector image. Actually, this one's not anymore because it's in Photoshop, but when you're in Illustrator, it's vector, and then you export it as a Photoshop document, which is a pretty sweet deal, just to bring it directly into Photoshop. So before we do anything, the very first thing you need to do is go to a website and pick up a font. It is called Mission Gothic. It's from losttype.com. It's very simple. All you got to go is in the amount. You can put 0 if you want, or of course they give you options to pay if you want. But the reason we want to use this font is because there's different weights of the font, and we want to make sure that we are using different variations, as you can tell from the original image, which you can see right above this video. So that's the first thing you need to do. Once you've installed it and all that kind of stuff, you are good to go to actually make your text, which is, of course, half of the face because it's transforming from text to an actual face. So let's get our layers in order. We need to get our move tool. For whatever reason, when it imports from Illustrator, it kind of does a weird thing here with the group, and I think it's just simply because the black is in a group in Illustrator. So I'm going to grab that layer, click and drag it above, delete the folder, rename this layer, and then we're good to go. Now we're not done. We're going to add one more layer, cleverly titled Layer 1. We're actually going to double click on that, do title BG, which is for background, and then we're going to go to Edit, Fill, 50% gray, right here where it says Contents, and then click OK. Now the reason we did that is because we are using black and white font. So if we are trying to type white on white, you will not be able to see what you're doing. So 50% gray, you're good to go. Go ahead and get your type tool, hide the 2 black and white layers, and make sure your font is on Mission Gothic. I like to start with the thickest, so I'm going to go with black. Font size can change later, and make sure that your color is either on black and or white. So I am actually just going to use different versions of title, so I'm going to say title 1, and I'm going to type that twice. The reason is we want to make sure to have a long enough text line to make the beard itself in the bottom half of the face. Just to switch things up, I'm going to do to title, and then let's just copy, paste. The next thing you need to do is actually, this is where we're going to change the weight. So select just one line, come up to your font options, and just choose any one of them. Now don't use italic because that's kind of weird. Well, I mean, it's art, so you can do whatever you want, but my suggestion would be not to use that. But make sure that you're kind of mixing it in, a light with the thicker ones and the not so thick and the thin and the regular and the bold and the light. Just change it up. I'm gonna leave that one bold. Make some regular, and let's make this one extra thin. Okay, so now you're kind of starting to see where this might be going, but of course we need a lot more of it. So I'm going to select all of this, do Command or Control C, just like as if you're in Word. Make sure you go all the way down to the bottom, hit Enter, and then Command V. I'm going to do it a couple of times so I have plenty of room to work. Now I'm going to get my move tool, and at this point it's horizontal, so obviously we now have a text layer. If you do Command T with your move tool, which is transform, and you can always go up to layer transform, it's there. Go on the outside of this, and we're going to rotate this. Now Shift is your friend. You'll know that if you watch the basic tutorials in Photoshop. Actually, in any of the Adobe products, Shift keeps everything symmetrical and appropriate. So if you're rotating and you hold Shift, it's going to keep it 100%, actually 90 degrees, which is what you want. Then hit Enter. Make sure to always hit Enter when you're trying to transform. Otherwise, you're locked in with not being able to do anything. Now, we're not done with the text. We're actually going to duplicate that layer. So if you select that layer, do Command or Control J, it's going to duplicate that layer. Now we're going to do Command T one more time, and we're actually going to size that down. Again, holding Shift because we don't want to warp the font itself. We just want it to be smaller, a smaller version of itself. Okay. Now it's going to start to look really cluttered. That's actually a good thing, and we're going to make sure it doesn't look so crappy here in a second. Now that you've brought the size of that down, let's do it one more time. Command J, and let's just move that over. If you hold Shift yet again, it will actually keep it in line up here at the top, if that's a concern of yours. Let's do it one more time, and now we need to fill in the bottom part. So we're really filling it in. And one more time. So basically kind of a grid of 4. So there we go. So now we have this just ridiculous mess. So you got to remember that these this very bottom one is your thick font. If you want to go in there and change the title, you totally can. I'm just going to call this big. I'm going to grab these other 4. So I'm going to select the top one, hold Shift, select the bottom one. I'm going to bring the opacity down. And that is how we kind of get where it's a little hectic, but yet you can still kind of see some of the titles, which is definitely what you want. All right, so obviously these fonts are all black, so we need to make a white version of the font. So I'm going to select all of these and do Command J, so that's going to duplicate all of them. With them still selected, I'm going to get my Type tool, and then I'm going to go up to the color picker here, and I'm going to change it to white. Hit OK. Voila. Now you have your white. Now, while you have those selected, it would be kind of wise of you to do Command G, which is going to group it. So you now have your white text. Always rename your layers, otherwise it gets kind of confusing after a while. I'm going to leave the black text out for right now, and I'm actually going to bring my face back. What's up, face? Now we need to get the white text. Now, here's where we're going to start doing a bunch of different masking and stuff. And you know what? I'm actually going to stop right here, and I'm going to make kind of a part 2 of the first video because I don't want you guys to sit here for like 30 minutes, listen to me ramble on and try to speed through. So there is a part 2 of this face text transition transform thing. So go ahead and go to the next video directly below this one.